What's up guys, this is Darkbblue, a gamer who loves Souls-like games, looter games, and every game that involves build making. Now that we've had enough analysis on Remnant 2 game mechanics, it's time for builds. In this very first build video, I won't be talking about any specific build, but a general methodology of how to make builds. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and now let's dive right into it. First, let's summarize all the components of a build. Weapon along with mod and mutator, accessory including 1 amulet and 4 rings, archetypes 1 primary and 1 secondary, traits, both 2 archetypes give you 10 trait points, and primary archetype gives you 5 trait points on some basic stat. Both cannot be changed. Then you have some points that can be freely allocated. We used to have 60, but now we have 65, and devs also imply that this number can be changed in the future. Relics, while its primary purpose is healing, it's not restricted to it. And relic fragments, although low-quality fragments aren't very useful, mythic ones can be important. All these components contribute to the final build, but this also brings a problem. Where should we start when making a build? My answer is, the rule of a starting point is to make only a small number of possibilities for gear choice remain. Personally, I think none of these components can serve this purpose. So, what shall we choose? Damage types. When starting to make a build, we need to first know what types of damage we want to deal. Or if you love a specific weapon and want to make a build for it, it's also a good idea to first analyze what damage type it deals. So what are the damage types in Remnant 2? There are 2 dimensions or axes for categorization: damage source and damage property. For damage source we have ranged, melee, mod, skill, and other damage, and for damage property we have regular, status effect, elemental, explosion, and maybe even more. These 2 axes are orthogonal, which means a given damage is a combination of one type from each axis. So let's take Merciless as an example. Its basic shooting is ranged regular damage, and its mod is mod regular damage. And what about this bleeding effect? It's other and status effect damage. This means it can get bonus from status effect ring but not from ranged melee mod or skill bonus. Once we have figured out what damage types our new build is targeting at, things will get much easier. Next, I shall make some analysis on some build components and will start with accessories. They have different functions: damage, survivability, or utility. However, the most important function is mod power generation and skill cooldown. They allow you to better rotate your mods or skills, and thus are the real necessary component of a build. As a result, when I start to play Epoch and have to sacrifice some of my rings to equip survivability rings, I choose to sacrifice my damage output instead of mod power generation or skill cooldown. Then let's talk about archetypes. Archetypes provide all kinds of bonus effects, but just as I have said, their damage bonus, especially what types of damage they bonus, is the most important. Here we are talking about the damage perks of each archetype. When we check their bonus values, we can see every archetype has damage bonus and crit chance bonus. Damage bonus ranges from 25% to 50%. Usually I see 25 to 30 as low, 35 as moderate, and 50 as high. And as for critical chance, most archetypes gave only 5%, but some gave 10%. And if we check their bonus damage types, we can see it's about damage sources. Archetypes provide bonus for ranged, melee, mod, and skill damage, and there is also something called all damage, which is the only way to increase other damage. At the moment, there are 11 archetypes, and 4 of them have very specific bonus types: Gunslinger and Hunter bonus, ranged damage, Arcane bonuses more damage, and Engineer bonuses skill damage. Since each of them bonuses only one damage type and their bonuses are really generous, it's easy to decide whether to use them. But here are some additional comments on Gunslinger and Hunter. Indeed, they are both ranged archetypes, but Gunslinger is more about fire rate and reload speed, while Hunter focuses more on weak spot damage and critical damage. Of course, having both gives the best damage, but also makes you a glass cannon. So if you want to use only one of them, consider their different effects. Then there are 3 hybrid damage archetypes: Handler for ranged and skill damage, Summoner for mod and skill damage, and Invader for ranged and melee damage. Handler is a team supporting archetype. Its 3 skills provide healing, damage reduction, and damage bonus. However, their effects are weaker than Alchemist, which is also a team supporting archetype. For example, Handler provides 15% DR, while Alchemist has 25%. By sacrificing skill effects, Handler gets a dog companion for distracting enemies and reviving them. Summoner is, of course, for summon builds. If you don't want a summon build, I suggest not use Summoner just for its damage bonus, since you have to spend extra trait points to keep your minions alive. As for Invader, well, I don't know what it's for, but since it has melee bonus, which is rare, I think it's useful in melee builds. All the 3 hybrid damage archetypes are usually used for builds with clear and single damage types. After choosing the archetype with the corresponding damage type bonus, you come to pick up one hybrid damage archetype to have more bonus on that damage type. Finally, we have 4 all-damage archetypes: Medic, Challenger, Alchemist, and Explorer. Among them all, only Challenger has moderate bonus values and all others have low bonus values. As for their function, Medic is of course the team healer. Challenger addresses survival issue with a different way from Medic, which chooses to heal lost health. Challenger tries to take less damage at the first place. Alchemist is a team supporter with much stronger skills than Handler. And as for Explorer, currently I have seen no reason to use it for combat purpose. There are 2 situations where you may want to use an all-damage archetype. First, just the same as how you choose hybrid damage archetypes, all damage archetypes can work in a build with single damage type. And second, if your build has many damage types, it's your only choice to use all damage archetypes. So how do we choose among them? Let's just first exclude Explorer, then Alchemist is an all-time good choice. Challenger is good for close combat builds, but useless otherwise. Finally, if you need 2 all-damage archetypes but Challenger is not suitable, choose Medic. In the end, some thoughts about traits. Remnant 2 has deleted every trait that may increase your damage output. Now there are only utility traits. Personally, I choose to have 10 Swiftness, 10 Spirit, and 10 Bark Skin plus 10 Fortify plus 10 Lifesteal for survivability guarantee. This is a compatible trait allocation solution for most builds, and I have spared some points for free allocation. Since we can reset trait freely now, I have deleted a large part of the video talking about how to design the trait allocation solution that is compatible with as many builds as possible. As the last part of this video, let's see an example of making a bleeding build. So this is a bleeding build based on Merciless. We shall start with analyzing the damage type of this weapon. Its basic shooting is ranged damage, its mod shouldn't be ignored, so we also have more damage, and finally the bleeding effect is other damage. Since we have so many different damage types, even including other damage, we have to use all damage archetypes. Alchemist is chosen, then I observe that Merciless is not suitable against distant targets as its bullets fly too slowly. Therefore, I use this bleeding build for close combat only and choose Challenger as the second archetype. Then we have another observation. The mod of Merciless mentions additional critical damage, and a bleeding amulet, abrasive whetstone, has great crit chance and crit damage bonus. So the second keyword of this bleeding build after bleeding should be critical hit. Based on this, I choose Momentum Mutator, Whetstone, and Crit Damage Ring to get more damage from critical hits. And additionally, there is an interesting Bleeding Ring that increases healing when near bleeding foes, and I think I should use it in this build. In the end, let's check out what components are not decided yet. Relics. Just use any relic with healing. Relic Fragments. Well, since we have too many damage types, it's hard to decide a fragment that can both them all. I'd just use mod cost and ranged crit chance. So that's everything about how you make a build. If you like my story and if you want to join me into depths of games, just like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you around.